I'm Kerry Rowett, and this is the Align and Attract podcast, helping you to create your version of an aligned business. Let's dive into today's episode.
Do you have an alignment problem or do you have a strategy problem? I'm so excited to explore this with you today. Such a juicy topic. And for many of us, it can be a little bit difficult to tell. So I want you to think about a problem or an issue, a challenge that you have had in your business in the past, or perhaps something that you are experiencing at the moment. So it may be a launch that didn't go so well. It might be a gap in your business where you feel like you're not making enough income. You may be not attracting enough clients, something along those lines. And then when you look at that, before we've dived in, would you guess that it is more likely to be an alignment issue? So is it something within you, do you think, that is preventing you from being able to achieve those kinds of outcomes that you're looking for? Or do you think it's just something that you need to learn? It's something that is more of a strategy issue. And if you were to make some really practical changes in your business, that would help you to move through those blocks and to create that greater level of success. Let's look at each of them in more detail, and that's going to help you to discern for yourself in your own business what the issue might be, or maybe for you it's a bit of a combination of the two. And once you know what it is, the best part about that is then you can seek more support in that specific area, or support yourself in that specific area. So if you are experiencing an alignment problem, that is something that is going to be more internal. It's really more likely that you are kind of the problem. It's your doubts, your fears, your worries, perhaps your overthinking. It's your emotions. It's, your stories about yourself, about things that have happened in the past. It's your beliefs. Those are the things that are holding you back from experiencing the kind of success you could create and actually taking the right kinds of aligned actions that will help you to grow in your business. And so have a think for yourself, like, do you find that you will have thoughts or feelings that will prevent you from moving forwards? Can you find that you get a bit stuck in your head, stuck in what's happening? Do you really get onto that roller coaster, the emotional roller coaster of business, which I've talked about in a previous episode, and find it a little bit tricky to get off of that and to stay objective and to continue to take the kinds of actions that you know are going to move you forwards? Now, if you've got an alignment problem, one of the ways you're going to know this is because somebody could tell you exactly what to do. And so you might have done one or more business courses. You might have worked with one or more business coach, and you might have been told, hey, this is what you need to do. Or you've learned specific strategies or steps or processes, but you don't execute them. You don't actually follow through and take those steps. And the reason is, it's not because you can't do it, or it's not because you don't know how to do it. It is something within you that feels like it blocks you. So it brings up so much stuff. It brings up fear or visibility issues, or a bit of panic or worry or anxiety or self-doubt. And it's those aspects that then stop you from taking those actions. And you might find that you would feel that if you were actually doing what it is that you already know that you need to do, your sense is that you would be fine, that you would at this point in your business be able to continue to grow, to be able to continue to create more success. So for now, it feels like your business model is about right. You know, the way you work with your clients, or the balance of what you do in your business and the way your business makes money. Those things feel like they are good for you at the moment. You know how to communicate, you've got some processes, you've got a few skills in marketing. And if you were doing those things, if you were actually implementing what you already know, then you'd be able to grow. But you're not, or you're not doing it consistently. And that is showing you that there is a bit of an alignment issue. So a sign always that there could be an alignment issue is when you feel quite a high level of emotion, and it's going to be of that more negative or heavier variety. I mean, all emotions are fine, obviously, but you know, if you're having a lot of emotion when you're just wanting to, you know, do a Facebook Live or something like that, and then you get stuck in your head and you can't actually just follow through and do that, or it really takes you all day to build up to it, you know, that's a bit of an alignment issue. You're not just able to take those actions with a degree of ease and then move on to the next thing. Now, if your alignment is blocking you, then you might find that you kind of then can hit up against other kinds of challenges as well. So it could become that you are not actually walking your talk in your business, and then that starts to impact on your work with clients. So for example, if in your business you are helping your clients to release money blocks, let's just say, but then because of your own alignment issues, you stop working through your own money blocks, or you just get to a certain income level and you can't break through that yourself, like the tools that you use with your clients, you're not using them for yourself, or they're not working for yourself, that can become an alignment issue, of course. And whether or not your clients know that that's happening or not, energetically, there's going to be a misalignment, and you're certainly going to be aware of it. It's not going to feel good for you, and you're not going to feel great as you're showing up and saying, you know, giving suggestions and sharing learnings and teachings about this is how, you know, you break through your money blocks, if you feel like you can't actually do it yourself at the moment. Same thing, you know, if you're teaching business strategy, or you're teaching something to do with business, which is about how to grow, but you are not having the ability to grow your own business at the moment. So maybe you're not feeling confident about that, or you're having all these self-doubts coming up. You're not taking the actions that you know that you need to take to grow your own business, and yet you're teaching other people certain strategies. Of course, as you can hear, that's going to be an alignment issue. It could also be that, for example, you're teaching your clients how to manage their energy levels, or how to create like really a real sense of vitality in their energy. But if you're not looking after your own energy, then that's going to be an alignment issue. So it can be, you know, in terms of the topic that you're actually working on primarily with your clients. And if you're not walking your talk with what it is that you're teaching, that can be an alignment issue as well. So for some of us, we can have a lot more comfort or familiarity with this area, with having alignment blocks, for example, than we do with strategy. So we might always go internally, and we might always assume that the problem is within us. And of course, that is not always going to be the case. So it's not always the cases because of your own internal blocks that you are not growing your income or attracting the number of clients you desire, and so on. It could be that you've got this strategy issue. So as I mentioned, it's when you know what to do, but you're not doing it, or you're doing it and then it's just not connecting. That's when you know that there is more likely to be an alignment issue. So if you always tend to go towards getting support with your alignment, with your energy, with your mindset, with your emotions, then you might like to consider looking at strategy. So let's dive into that now. So what might a strategy problem actually look like? So that is when you maybe don't have the right business model for you. So part of the problem is you can't grow because, for example, and I'll use myself as an example, at the moment, like, back earlier in my career, let's just say, I was working with one-on-one clients exclusively, and I was doing a beautiful job of attracting lots of clients, but I was only going to be able to grow to a certain level. So I was charging, $80 an hour the first year, $90 an hour the second year, $100 an hour the third year. By this stage, well before then, I was already booked out with clients. I was seeing the maximum number of people. So can you hear, that is, for me to grow my business, that was not an alignment issue. I was aligned. What was my problem? I had a strategy problem. I needed to learn new strategies to grow my business. I needed to learn how to scale and leverage some of the skills and the knowledge that I had, and the ways that I could facilitate transformation and be able to do that in different ways. Now, I did start to teach online courses and things like that, but that is, an area that I have continued to need to learn and to grow in, so that I don't max out at a certain level, feeling good and loving the work that I'm doing, but being capped out because I become so busy that then that's what stops me from being able to grow. So of course we know that creating a more successful business is not about working harder. I'm sure you have heard that a million times. And yet for so many of us, it can be that instinctive thing that we do. We just think that we either think that we need to work harder, or we just go ahead and do it, rather than learning more about the strategies that will help us to work a little smarter, whilst still being able to have that beautiful connection with our clients and to love the work that we do and all of those things. So some of us, it can feel a bit less, less attractive to work on that stuff, but it's what frees you up. It's what allows you to grow. So if there is a strategy problem, it might be as well that you feel really good about the work you do with your clients. You might be really enjoying the ways that you communicate and connect. People really love what you do and so on. But then you have a launch and it just doesn't do as well as what you would like. And it's really just because of the numbers. So it's to do with those, basic percentages where often it's around, 1 to 2, maybe more, depending on how engaged your mailing list is and how people find their way to your mailing list. And most people find their way there because they're a client. They're probably going to be way more engaged and so on. And that when you launch something, those percentages may be much higher for you, but it might just be that your audience isn't large enough to have the kind of size of launch that you would really desire, or to grow your launches. And so you would need to have a look at a strategy, how to grow your audience in different areas. So with your mailing list and maybe in different places. And of course, there are so many things that you could do. And I guess if you're not being strategic, you might just try a bunch of those things. You may monitor what works and what doesn't, and it becomes more strategic. That's great. But you may actually try a specific strategy. So for example, a webinar strategy or something along those lines. And then you actually put some plans in place and you execute, specific processes and steps which somebody else has taught you or guided you through, or that you've learned in a specific way. And then you are assessing how that's working, but it's a more strategic approach. It might be that you work with a business coach, or do a course about learning how to do something differently, specifically how to launch, specifically how to create an e-course and how to market that. So you might work on your marketing, you might work on your sales. So you're learning specific strategies that you can execute. So you've kind of realized, I have hit up against the limitations of what it is that I know and I cannot really grow from here unless I learn something new. And it does, of course, take skill to discern what is it that I need to learn and what's going to be in alignment with me, what's going to really work for my specific ideal clients, what are they going to really connect with. And with strategy, like for some people, this can become an area that they overuse. So I mentioned before, some people will tend to lean into alignment, see everything as being a problem within themselves. Some other people will find that they're always looking at strategy. So they're always learning a new technique, a new tool. They can have that bright, shiny object syndrome about something new that pops up in marketing. They're always looking around at what other people are doing, what are the big names are doing, what are they teaching, getting onto everyone's mailing list, paying attention to the strategies that they're using, trying to model them or imitate them, whatever it is. But they're kind of going too far in that direction rather than looking at, themselves and really developing and growing their own leadership capabilities, building up their own, sense of authority, confidence and self-belief around what it is that they know, and also staying really, really focused on their actual ideal client and what it is that they need, rather than getting kind of distracted in the end by all of this different strategy. It kind of can be a way of avoiding just connecting, kind of going sometimes for the simplest approach. So going more heavy on the strategy side is not always better. Things can become really convoluted, and someone has to go through 16 steps and this whole funnel before you even offer them something, or you feel like you have to offer them a $27 product before you can offer them this and before you can offer them that. It kind of almost becomes this system where people are having to jump through hoops and you're not making it easy for them. So if you're going too far down that side of things, you may need to simplify and, like I say, come back to yourself, come back to your own alignment. You already know what to do, and now go ahead and actually do it, and go ahead and back yourself with that. So I hope that has been helpful for you to think about, and I'd love to hear from you. Do you think your issues tend to be more of an alignment type issue? Are they more internal, or are they more of a strategy issue, and there's something that you maybe need to learn a little bit more about? If you've got an alignment issue, well, I can help you with that. And it's something that I obviously teach in my Align and Attract program. I teach you how to release your own blocks, to find out specifically what is blocking you in relation to your own individual goals, and how to release that internally, so you can just keep on coming back to your center, keep on coming back to feeling neutral, resourceful, focused on what it is that you are creating. So it's great for those of us who can get a bit caught up in our own stuff and just keep you on track so that you can keep on taking those aligned actions. It might also help you to discern more easily where there is a strategy problem, because of course, once you're in alignment, if something isn't working, you can really clearly see, because you're feeling more objective. Oh, okay, cool, there's a gap here, I need to learn something else. You don't make it about yourself. You can just see you've got that ability to be more neutral as you look at things, rather than being really emotional. If you have identified as a strategy problem, that is not something I teach, but there are about 11 billion people on the internet who do teach strategy. So where you can, try and get clear on what it is that you think are your gaps and how you best learn. Do you best learn when you're working one-on-one? Do you best learn when you're a part of a group? Do you just want an online course that you can work through at your own pace? Do you need to be part of a group where you can ask questions? And then, put it out there. I need to find something that's going to support me to do this, and then pay attention to what comes up and seek support in that area. If this has been useful for you, I would love you to share this episode with a friend. You can then have a great chat about it. You can also jump across to my Facebook page at Awaken Kinesiology, or my Instagram at Kerry Rowett, and share there. And if you enjoyed this episode, of course, please subscribe. I'll see you next time.
This was episode 8 of the Align and Attract podcast with Kerry Rowett, and you can find all of the relevant show notes over at alignandattract.com/blog/ 8, I have to say this has been one of my favorite topics to explore on the podcast so far, and I would love to hear from you. What has been your favorite topic so far? And also, what would you love me to talk about in relation to alignment? You can email me at kerry@alignandattract.com to let me know. If you are enjoying the podcast, I would love it if you left a review and let other people know what it is that you are enjoying about these kinds of conversations. Thank you so much for being here, and I cannot wait to connect with you next time.